In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to set up and how I use the new structured outputs feature in the OpenAI API. Structured outputs are key in the world of automation because they make it easy to plug AI results directly into your workflows, getting consistent results every single time. This workflow, for example, in make.com takes a project scope document that looks like this. These project scope documents, which are basically just a rough outline of my potential client, their project, their goals, how we're gonna go about building out the automated workflows, and so on and so forth. The end goal is to get a fully complete templatized formal proposal for my clients for their project. And it looks all neat and clean like this. So in this workflow, we're basically taking that project scope document, feeding that to an OpenAI assistant. We're parsing out the response from the OpenAI assistant, and it's consistent every single time now that we have the structured outputs feature. And then we're taking those pieces of information from the output from the assistant and plugging those into a template in Google Docs. This workflow in make.com is nothing new. I've built it out and made a video here on TikTok before. I ran into issues before time and time again where the output from this assistant is not consistent, and therefore the parsing JSON module sometimes has a hard time understanding what to do with the result or the output from this assistant, and it ultimately results in an error and the workflow stops and nothing comes out of it, which is very annoying because especially as new ChatGPT models come out, and I'm updating this assistant specifically to now run on the new version of ChatGPT, which is like ChatGPT 4.0 or 4.0 mini. The outputs were always skewed. They were always different, but that doesn't fly in the world of automation. So back here in the OpenAI API, I have an assistant that I built out that specializes in formal project proposals. This is the prompt that I have, and this is a list of all the pieces of information that I need it to output for me. Ending it with always output in JSON format wasn't enough to give me consistent results. So down here in the response format, you've got three options. You've got text, JSON object, and JSON schema. I'm going to show you guys what I did to set up the JSON schema. It will take you to this window where you can edit the response format. It's basically just telling your assistant to follow this specific format and make sure to contain the required fields. And I'm not good at writing up JSON schemas or coding for that matter, so I just popped over here to ChatGPT and gave it a prompt. I basically said, I need your help to give me a structured JSON schema for me based on what I'm looking for in this prompt. I'm going to give this schema to my OpenAI assistant for the new OpenAI API feature of structured outputs. I will be parsing the JSON output in make.com to extract all the pieces of information. That's probably overkill for my prompt. I pasted the prompt or the assistant instructions that I give my OpenAI assistant. And this is the first result that it gave me for a JSON schema. I copied the code and then I came back here to the OpenAI API and then pasted the schema into this, clicked save, and I was getting error messages. The error message was saying something like a schema name is required. So I came back here to ChatGPT and responded with, it's saying that a schema name is required, and it updated the schema for me and gave me this code. I copied this code, went back to the OpenAI API, pasted the new schema, and I still kept getting error messages. So I just went back and forth like this for probably 10 minutes until I landed on this one that worked. Once you have a properly formatted and working JSON schema, you come down here to the save button, click it, and the window will disappear. It'll take you back to the rest of the parameters and settings for your assistant. And then it's basically just trial and error from here. So if you want, you can go hit the playground right here. And then for me in my situation, I would just come down here to the text field and enter in all of my project scope details. So I would basically just copy this entire document, come back here to the OpenAI API, paste that, click run, and see what it gives me. And then you can see once it's all finished running that it followed that format, the JSON schema, and made sure that all of the required elements are contained in the output. So I get consistent results every single time, and the likelihood of this module or the Google Docs module resulting in an error drop significantly. So if we get this to run again, we'll just click run once. Here it grabbed the project scope document. It's feeding the contents of that to my OpenAI assistant. The OpenAI assistant responded in that proper JSON format, then is parsed into all of the pieces of information. So we have the title, the client name, the executive summary, the project overview, the solution description, the necessary tools and technologies, quality assurance and limitations, the price, and the final statement. Those pieces of information then get plugged into this Google Docs create a document from a template module, and it looks like this. I'm just basically pasting the title right there. I'm pasting the client name right there in the client field. and so on and so forth for all of the pieces of information. And if I come back here to my Google Drive, I'll see that I have a new custom automation project proposal for Rick Sanchez. And this is what that new project proposal looks like. I went ahead and deleted all my sensitive information up here. All nice and clean, hyper personalized. I basically just have to download the PDF, attach it in an email, and send it off to my potential client. Or if I want, I can build out an automated workflow that does all of this for me. Meaning once I approve it, I can just drag this document into a specific folder that kicks off an automation, downloads this formal proposal document into a PDF, attaches that to an email addressed to my potential client, and then sends it off automatically, saving me tons of time. So yeah, structured outputs in the OpenAI API, it's a win. The structured outputs feature in the OpenAI API is very useful for me because before this, I basically was only getting fairly consistent results with the GPT-4 Turbo model, which is more expensive. But now that I have a properly formatted JSON schema, I can use the super cheap model, the GPT-4o Mini, and get the same results every single time. Thanks, guys.